Christmas.
And Happy New Year.
And Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah or Happy Kwanzaa
Good.
to all of our friends.
Good.
And listeners.
Yes. Happy holidays all
Yeah.
around. Season's greetings. Season's dreamings.
Screamings.
Oh my god.
Come on, Carissa.
I didn't go to the convention. I missed it.
It's okay. Next year.
In horror, we trust. What's your favorite scary movie? But yeah, I hope you guys all had a great break. We sure had a restful one. It's been a while.
We're a little rusty. Restful for some. But we are back, and we are very sorry for the long hiatus. And this list is a little bit late, but we hope that it wraps up our first year of podcasting. It's really cute. We haven't exactly hit our podcasting anniversary yet, but I mean, like, almost there. We're like a couple months away.
That's
know.
crazy.
That's really nuts to think about. We're going to have to do something really spectacular for our 1 year.
And we'll get more consistent, don't worry.
Absolutely, we will.
We're figuring our lives out still.
We are just, skins of adults pretending that we know what we're doing. And we're just kind of getting used to it. So, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Christine.
That was the wrong metaphor to use. My apologies.
Yeah, so we are going to share our best of 2022 horror. We will also share movies that, fell short for us, disappointed us, and some honorable mentions.
Maybe some, instead of best and worst of, because we like to stay positive about filmmaking and kind of praise all of those ventures, whether they hit for us or not. So maybe we'll just call them our dishonorable mentions.
Yeah.
Things that didn't work for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, it's not personal. It's not personal.
No. If you liked it, so sorry. But it just didn't hit our cup of tea.
Literally, as you'll see with mine and Christine's list, we have a lot of similar ones, but there's definitely ones that are completely different. Like ones on that she did not like and I liked.
Yes.
So, you're free to your own opinion.
Yeah. And they're not bad. It's just a matter of taste.
Yeah. Exactly. Opinion.
Well, with that, do you want to get started on this list?
Yes. So we each have 10 films that were very hard to narrow down to.
Yes.
It's been quite a year.
Yes.
There's just a lot that's come out.
I know.
And a lot I still have not seen. So I'm sorry. I'm probably going to miss out a lot of things.
Honestly, same. I think we missed quite a chunk. Yeah. But from what we've seen, we are going to do our best to kind of narrow down that list. And this makes me worry for next year.
Oh, I know.
It's going to be even more intense. So start your list early.
Yeah. We've already got a few trailers for things.
I know.
But anyway.
Well, would you like to start, Krista? Oh, we should preface that my list was a little more, I guess I had a more clear understanding of where my films fell. Whereas Krista kind of had a harder time with her latter half of the list. She liked them all equally.
Listen. Christine is definitely much more opinionated, I would say. It starts getting blurry for me. Like, I'm very indecisive in general. So I have a solid top 3 in an order. And then after my top 3, they honestly could go anywhere for me, like order-wise. But we're going to say this in an order and trade off with films. But just so you know. So
with that being said,
you start off. Please.
I will start. And we're going in from I don't even want to say least favorite, but it'll go from the bottom of our list to our most favorite.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. All right, my number 10 film pick is Fresh.
Oh, nice. Oh man.
Fresh was just I feel like a film that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
For me, at least, it just dropped on Hulu, and I kept hearing all this buzz, and I was like, "Oh, okay, let me give it a go. Let's see where this takes us." And boy, was it a ride!
Yeah,
and it was such a fun film.
Yeah. I mean, we've covered this in our Dames of Death episode.
Absolutely.
And we were both just very pleasantly surprised. It was very, very well done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was definitely not expecting what it took us through. And I really I feel cheesy saying metaphors in it,
Yeah.
but like, you know, the way they visually showed, or like what we said in that episode,
yes,
is the consumption like of
women
in women's bodies specifically.
Absolutely.
Literally and figuratively.
I am so impressed that you remembered that.
Yeah, that
Mine
like hits
Steel Trap.
so.
Yeah, no, it really does. And we're not going to get too into each film, especially the ones that we've talked about previously, but yeah, this movie, I mean, it stands solid on my list. I debated whether or not to put it on, and I was like, no, it absolutely deserves a spot on this list. Nice. It was fantastic.
Yeah, great choice.
Yes.
That it was cool to see Sebastian Stan in that villain role. I mean, I can't remember if he's played like Winter Soldier was a little villainous at points, but anyway, like
but not to that extent.
And to see him in a horror too was really fun. Daisy Edgar Jones was fantastic. She was a real delight. Great performance. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've just talked about it already, so I'll just leave it.
Honestly,
great choice.
I have nothing bad to say about this movie. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's a movie that has rewatchability, and it deserves its spot.
Nice.
All right, for you, Miss Girl.
All right, yeah, I'll start with Prey.
Oh,
Prey.
Yes.
That one was also another surprise. There's a lot of surprising ones in this list that we just weren't ready for, or we're like it took us and swallowed us whole. Yeah, I thought it was such a creative addition to the Predator universe, and
I feel like it kind of revived the universe too.
There's just a lot of strong female representation in horror this year. Like
a lot.
Very strong, very creative and dynamic. I mean, and then to get like an Indigenous woman, like super cool, and to have the language mixed in with the English, of course, but
that was still really unique.
Yeah,
and it was great, and I love that they like kept that in, and they didn't just try to pacify kind of American audiences with just doing it in English.
Oh yeah,
totally. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and I thought the Predator was really cool design.
Yeah, and
seeing some like behind the scenes the practical makeup and suit and the face that was moving was crazy. It was just ruthless, brutal, and she kicked ass, but she was also so like so innovative. She was very like had ingenuity, and just her traps she set up, or it was just super fun.
And the dog. Honorable mention to the dog.
The dog. It does not die. Don't you worry.
Yeah, don't worry. This was one horror film where the dog made it out alive and kicked ass. Yeah, and I just liked the underdog story too.
Yes. Like, I don't know, it was just so fun. And,
it was.
And seeing you have like the little bit with, these colonizers, these French, white dudes like acting a fool, and just seeing them get decimated, and like one of the most epic, fight scenes. Yeah. Predator fight scenes was so satisfying. The movie was just all around so satisfying.
Yeah. And again, I think this is a movie that has decent rewatchability as well.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is
awesome. For me. Yay. Okay. We're going up a notch. Number 9. I think, Carissa, you're going to be a little shocked by this.
Oh.
Watcher.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Watcher made my list. I remember Carissa saying that she really enjoyed this movie. And I kind of was like, oh, yeah, whatever. I saw the trailer, didn't really think much of it. I was bored one night, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I'll throw this on. And at first, I was kind of like, okay, like, what is this? And then when the movie really kicked off, I was like, oh. I think that this movie is very realistic to the horrors that kind of take place with women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially this is like our worst nightmare come to fruition.
Yeah.
Of like somebody stalking us, people not believing, and then it turning out to be true.
Yeah.
And it was just that final, like, accumulation at the end was just, I just wasn't expecting it to go that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was such a slow buildup, and then the end was just like, boom, in your face.
Yeah. So the dread. Absolutely
Yes.
dreadful.
Yes.
Yes.
And the man that was casted,
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to him. I don't know if they beefed it up, but his look, he's just so creepy.
Yeah. His name is Bern Gorman. He's in a lot. Yes. And I just, like, I need to know his name.
Yes.
Because, yeah, he was terrifically cast.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just, like, his mannerisms and his acting, because, yes, that added to the creepy element, but this man's face was just scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, also, just to go back on a point you said where it's like people not believing you. And not only that, it's the people closest to you not believing.
Absolutely.
Which is all the more painful.
Yeah.
Especially the context in which she has moved because of her boyfriend?
Husband. Yes.
His new job. And so she moved to a country with him that she doesn't know
Romania.
Anyone. Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And she really tries to kind of, like, acclimate herself to, like, a new culture. She tries to, you know, appreciate it. She tries to do things on her own, but then she encounters this man, and it was just, I mean, the anxiety definitely built.
There's a specific scene and shot in that, which is towards the end when the suspicions on him are starting to go down because, you know, basically they made it seem like she was just being super paranoid and he was acting all normal and everything with her saying, like, you know, chill out.
Yeah.
Anyway, and she's on the subway with him and she's stuck on the subway with him. And so
that scene was so tense.
Just absolutely stuck in this small space with him and just staring at each other. And there's a shopping bag sitting next to him. And she had been able to reach a friend that she had made out there, like a female confidant. And you can just kind of make out, like, this shape in the bag, and she's just staring at it. And the more you stare at it, and us as viewers staring at it, we're like, no, is that a head?
It was her head.
Yeah. And, like, just when the lights flash across the bag, and you can kind of see the contrast a little more in the shape. Yeah.
So a scene that was super effective for me, you had glossed over, is a scene where they kind of implant the idea in your head that maybe she's, like, not hallucinating, but maybe that she's just imagining that this man is following her.
She believes this so much.
Absolutely. It's the scene where her husband takes her back to the grocery store where she believes that he was following her, and they rewatch the videotape. And they were like, it kind of looks like you're just staring at this man through the door. And in that moment, I was like, wait a second. Is she?
Yeah.
Like, is she? Because she's in a new place. Like, she's uncomfortable trying to get settled. She is alone a lot of the time.
I feel like I've done that.
So I think that was just, that hit me hard. Where it was like, oh, okay. And then at the end, once it was revealed that, like, no, this girl was telling the truth. This was really what was happening.
Listen to your instincts.
Which is, trust your gut. But yeah, it was a powerful movie and I really enjoyed it.
Very subtle, you know, not just a lot of in your face shit.
If you
the build up
do not like slow movies, don't watch this. You're not going to enjoy it, just in a sense where it does take a while to build. Yeah. But if you have the patience to kind of sit for it for a very satisfying ending, highly recommend.
I mean, it still keeps you just really, like,
yeah,
because you're trying to figure it out. Very engaging still.
Yeah. And the shots are beautiful. I think they really, really add to the kind of tension. And like Chris was explaining in that scene with the train, like, you're feeling just as anxious and scared as the main character is. Yeah. So I think they did a really good job. Yes. But that's my number 9.
Okay, so my number 9 was actually a toss-up between Watcher, but I decided to go with this film instead. We're All Going to the World's Fair. I think this one really stuck with me, like, for a while after watching it. I just kept thinking about it, and, like, the tone that they create in this movie is so unique, so specific, and it's just, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't know if I said it on this podcast, but I've said it a lot in life. That it was hauntingly mesmerizing. For me, that's like what I can describe it as throughout. It is a first feature debut for the director Jane Schoenbrunn, and it's about adolescence in the online age, and specifically growing up in an or just being isolated. And she starts getting into almost like one of those urban legend creepypasta kind of challenges, games, if you will. And she does this challenge where you're supposed to watch this video that's like really weird and like very sensory and shit, and then things are supposed to happen to you, like you're supposed to start changing. And there were videos of people who did the challenge, and they're documenting, and it was very visceral, so she starts documenting herself and posting it online. And they play a lot with you as a viewer, like, is she changing? And they had some really creepy moments. Like, I really got scared on one moment where I was like, what the fuck is that? What is she doing? Is she changing and stuff? And then this person starts reaching out to her. It turns out to be this parent who, it is alluded to that this happened to a child of theirs, and the child is no longer there. So I assume that he had lost this child due to this challenge. Like, they did the challenge and they ended up killing themselves. At least that's
dying
what I got.
By suicide.
That's what I got out of it. Yeah.
Sorry. Correct terms.
Yeah. The filmmaker Jane Schoenbrunn, they transitioned while making this film. And so the film is about this character's navigation of their own gender dysmorphia and trying to understand that, especially at their tender age. But also, this goes back to a more personal story of the filmmakers, in which they had an experience of being groomed online. And you can kind of see the play of like parental concern, and but in this predatory way, where it is like he's like reaching out to her in this really bizarre way, where he's like concealing his identity and making this weird kind of creepy video to get her attention, and like trying to keep tabs on her and her journey, her transition, like in this challenge. And I never really thought of how creepy this character was actually being. And by the end, the viewer is still kind of unsure if this is really affecting the main character, if she really is changing from this challenge, or if she is just playing, just doing it for fun, playing it up for the audience to post online and get views and stuff. I don't know. It was just very interesting because I was like, is this happening or not? Is she actually changing? And, it just played with my expectations a lot. But I think overall, the tone and how it was filmed really just stuck with me. And the music is so good. It's such a good pairing. Really adds to the unique, feel and atmosphere I got out of this film. And it just haunts me. And I felt my heart was broken for this girl because it just felt so lonely. And I'm sure we've all had a point in our life, especially like kids growing up in this internet age and all the weird and kind of threats you encounter online and get sucked into, just going down the rabbit hole of the internet and everything. But like knowing the history and like knowing the filmmaker's experience made me value it so much more. And sorry,
no, please.
I'm rambling.
So I haven't seen this movie.
Yeah.
I started it, but I have long schedules, so I ended up falling asleep. Nothing to do with the movie itself. I was just tired, and it wasn't an appropriate time for me to start it.
It is a slower,
and that's
film.
totally fine. I'm down with that, but I just personally haven't had the chance to like pick it back up. But hearing you speak about it, like, honestly gains my interest. Yeah. And that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what this director does next. She's gonna do an A24 film next.
Ooh, okay.
So that should be cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, hauntingly mesmerizing. Okay,
that seems like a cool way to describe it from what you were saying. It feels plot wise.
Yeah, it feels like such a personal film. It really does.
I'm sure. All right, we are at number 8. my number 8 film is actually one I saw probably like 2 days ago. So I watched it in 2023, but I'm counting it as a 2022 because that's when it was released.
Okay, yeah.
The Menu.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I did not get a chance to see this in theaters, although I really, really wanted to. I'm kind of sad I didn't because it would have been really cool to see all that food being made, like on the big screen.
Yeah.
But I adore this movie. It was such a surprise. I guess I didn't know really what to expect going into this movie. I was like, okay, it has to do with food. It's being marketed as a horror comedy. Like, the main chef is giving me kind of Gordon Ramsay. Like, what's gonna go on here? And I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know what I was expecting out of this film, but it definitely, I loved the ending. I felt like it was giving me very Midsommar Hereditary vibes towards the end.
Yeah. Nice.
The costuming, at least, with like the marshmallow capes and the chocolate caps.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And the music was very, I feel like, Hereditary influenced at the end as everything was kind of building.
Yeah.
But I liked the idea of this group of cult chefs that are just so disassociated from reality, from what they've been doing for so long, and just what I like to think is like pretentious quote unquote food that they feel like there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
And I also feel like this movie, at least for me, I feel like this is kind of a commentary on film in itself, where it's like, instead of fluffing up film and making it artsy and adding all these embellishments, we kind of need to strip it away and get back down to like the bare bones of what filmmaking is. And sometimes just having the simplest of kind of ideas is what shines.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought it was really unique and it was really interesting, and all of the acting was fucking spectacular. Like, I forget the chef's name, the actor's name.
Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes. He was great. Like, when he would talk about food and he would get, like, glassy-eyed, like, you really could... He, like, emoted the emotion that you would feel when it came to his passion for food. And that was very reminiscent for me, like, when it comes to, like, my passion for film. Yeah. And I just think that, like, it kind of spoke as art as a whole. Yeah. And not to mention, the food that was made just looked absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. I thought it was very unique. And then the silly element of it, too, which was absolutely
delightful.
Great. Yes.
Delightful, yeah.
The title cards for each food item had me rolling.
Yeah, it's like a parody of Chef's Table on
Netflix. Yeah.
Which is like, it feels very... I mean, I love Chef's Table. It's beautiful to watch, but you know, that kind of pretentiousness.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like that's a very just kind of... It's a very overused word, but I mean, it kind of is. It's a little snooty.
I mean, when like looking at your statement of it expressing like the idea of filmmaking.
Yeah. And I think it's very much art in a whole.
Yeah, art in a whole.
But I'm taking it as like a film standpoint. But I'm sorry, sorry.
Definitely.
I just stuttered so bad. I'm sorry.
Moving on.
But go ahead with Tyler.
But thinking of it in that way, Tyler totally now reminds me of like, just personally speaking, the pretentious film student that can only watch and enjoy like the most obscure shit ever and makes you feel bad for liking shit like
1,000%.
You know?
But if you told them to grab a camera and make a film, they would be like,
Tyler's bullshit.
How do you record?
This is Tyler's bullshit.
Tyler's bullshit. Yeah. But 1,000%. And I felt like I couldn't like step away from that metaphor while I was watching it, just because it rung like so true, at least in my life. Yeah. And like what I've witnessed and what I've seen around the culture of filmmaking and film in general.
To be honest, I can completely understand like Ralph Fiennes and the chefs, like how they become disillusioned, they become jaded, and the disconnect, and they don't they don't produce for like their passion and their love anymore, and because of all the bullshit surrounding it.
Yeah.
And especially with the customers or the audience that
Yeah.
they're serving not appreciating it, not knowing what the fuck
Yeah.
like it goes into it. Yeah,
it's like that person where like this director is making a film and then it's presented to a theater full of people and one person is like on their phone and another person's a film critic like writing about the movie.
Yeah.
It just was so easy to switch out the element and it being 1,000% spot on. But I think the choice with food was brilliant.
Yeah.
That movie was so good. I loved it.
Yeah. No, definitely. That was
great choice.
Number 8 for me is You Are Not My Mother, which I think it's technically 2021, but the US release is 2022.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
So this is an Irish film. This is an Irish film, and I did not know what to expect, but it was thoroughly creepy.
Yes.
Very cool, like Irish folklore horror, but it centers on this relationship between this mother and daughter, and specifically dealing with ideas of mental illness.
Yes.
And
it's a really big theme this year.
Yeah.
Really big.
I mean,
we struggling out here.
Yeah. Truly. Yes. So directed by Kate Dolan. It was a slow burn, I would say, but it was, for me, it was very engaging the whole time.
Yeah.
And just basically this mom goes missing and she comes back, but she's different. And she's acting really strange, and it's in the most unsettling ways.
So unsettling.
Dude, the imagery in this has some really stuff like I had not seen before.
Yeah.
You know, like when she's putting her like arm down her throat.
Oh, that was so weird.
And just like the distant looks. But when it gets towards the end, in the like change, the like transformation, the figure that this mother becomes is just so creepy. Yeah. Like the way they revealed it too with the mirror and everything when the daughter enters the room. Just you guys, you gotta watch it to get that effect. But it was just like, oh. Yeah. And it just keeps getting more and more unsettling. And I mean, I'm not gonna analyze it, but yeah, just the relationship between family members, specifically a mother and daughter in particular, very strenuous. Yes. When, if you think about it in the terms of like someone dealing with mental illness, and the changes in them and not knowing them anymore, even,
or not recognizing them.
Yeah, exactly. Perfectly said. Boom, boom, boom.
Pun intended.
Yeah, but it is very much resonates with like you as an adolescent growing up, and that one I was very pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely. It was a really good film.
Yeah, that's my number 8.
I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about that movie, and I'm kind of pissed that I did.
No, I feel it. I think Adam had brought it up again. I was like, fuck yeah,
that movie
did
really good.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, really good.
The heebie-jeebies.
Highly recommend.
The performances, both the mom and the daughter,
they were great.
So good. And, you know, it's just so cool to see all these different, you know, foreign films. I mean, it's Irish. Okay?
And I'm a sucker for, like, folklore-based horror. Yes. I'm not talking, like, fucking Wicker Man, but, like... But you know what I mean? Like, it's just... I think it's really interesting, and we get kind of, like, a peek into like very old storytelling and like
absolutely
stories we may be a little bit familiar with that kind of filmmakers take and expand on and just make it so rich and different.
And they really go down to the roots. Yeah. Like, just the very core primal like feelings.
But I mean, that's kind of folklore.
Yeah.
So it's perfect and I love it.
Yeah. This is unrelated, but I want to see, just regarding folklore, I really want to see some movie that goes so hard in the Skinwalker.
Oh God, that'd be so scary.
Idea, yeah.
My number 7 pick. Bodies.
Nice.
I really liked this movie.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
fabulous.
I really don't have much to say about it other than it was fun.
Super fun. Yep. Yeah.
Is the best way I can describe this film. It was a fantastically fun ride.
It's a hoot.
It was very, very kind of Gen Z humor,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I think is great.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
We're down. We're down with Gen Z. No, I'm just kidding.
We act like we're that old.
I'm just one of them.
And I think it was fucking hilarious. I loved Pete Davidson's character. I feel like it was super fitting. Lee Pace was great.
Dude.
I think Lee Pace was the best surprise in that movie.
I really,
as a character.
It was like the absolute most like Gen Z whodunit.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Agatha Christie. Gen Z Agatha Christie. No, I'm just kidding.
And then the ending was so fucking fitting.
So perfect.
To Pete Davidson's character.
Yeah.
That I walked out of the theater smiling.
Yeah, it was almost like, of course. Like,
yeah, like,
how could it be any other way? I think I might have been disappointed if it was any other
honestly,
way.
yeah.
Thinking about it now. Yeah.
Yeah. That movie was just, I loved it.
So
I have
delightful.
nothing more to say. I think it deserves a spot on the list. I think it's a great movie to watch with a group of friends because you can laugh at it. You can talk, about it with each other during the movie and you're not going to miss too much of the plot. The dialogue is very witty, very quick. And it's a fun fucking movie.
It is so quotable. It might be the most quotable horror film of fucking 2022.
Yes.
Wins that award.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But that's my number 7 pick.
Nice.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I'm pretty sure you won't regret it if you can just kind of have fun with the film and laugh at it because it's supposed to be kind of
yeah,
but in the best ways possible.
Definitely
Give it a shot.
Super fun. Nice. So my number 7, you will not agree with. No, this is so it's Bones and All.
I knew what was coming.
It's Bones and All, and I'm gonna acknowledge. I mean, every film, it's just not for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't even mean that in a way where I'm like, oh,
it's just
fuck
not for
this
you.
movie. It's just it did not hit any of the Christine notes.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Luca Guadagnino. I really enjoy all his films that I've seen so far, which was Call Me by Your Name, Suspiria remake. I love the original more, but I still really liked the remake.
I will say I really, really enjoyed Call Me by Your Name.
I'll just add that in there.
I really enjoyed that.
No, yeah.
That's about it.
I just think he has a very beautiful film language. I love how he shoots things. It's very tender, and it really feels like a very specific place and time when he's shot. Specifically Call Me by Your Name, and I would say Bones and All.
I will agree with you on that. Yeah. Absolutely.
This Bloody Disgusting article written by Megan Navarro, who I love. I love her reviews. But I think this little sentence just sums it up perfectly for me. The Bones and All uses the road trip format set in Reagan-era America as a provocative and macabre means of exploring the monstrous need for survival and human connection. This is definitely, the book is a young adult fiction, and it's definitely, I know you disagree, I'm not going to speak for you, but I'm not going to speak for you.
It's okay.
But
so we had this discussion about Bones and All before recording this episode, so that's why she's kind of referencing me. But it's okay. You can say this because I did say it.
I thought it was a great romantic horror, and you felt that that doesn't work.
I just don't think that kind of romance and horror kind of belong together. I think if there's an already established romance in a horror film,
right,
and it kind of revolves around that in whatever way, cool. But I just don't think the coming of age horror kind of style film just really works for me.
Okay.
And and particularly cannibals, I think it's a very unique subject matter, and it's just not the type of cannibal film that kind of strikes my chord.
That's exactly what I thought how you would feel about it.
But I did give it 100% of a fair shot. I was not distracted. I sat through it. I watched it. I'm sorry. It just didn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I loved how it was shot, and I related to like the coming of age part and just this character on the run trying to find connection.
Yeah. Being
this monstrous thing that she doesn't understand necessarily, and her family has abandoned her because of it, and trying to figure out herself at this tender age and trying to find connection or someone to stick with, and all the characters she eventually meet, which I think are very interesting and unique. And then she finds her love interest with Timothée Chalamet, which that's a whole thing. And I don't know, I thought it was cute. I mean, it's not the best romance or anything. I really liked how it was filmed, and I really liked her specifically.
I will say this movie is absolutely fucking gory. It's very gory.
I was very surprised
than I expected it to be.
Yes,
I will give it that credit. And then the special effects in the film looked very real. Yeah, like it genuinely looked like two people tearing into a fucking body.
Yeah, when they I was very impressed by that. Especially the first scene or the first instance when you see her like give into her addiction,
munching on a finger.
Those. And then like, I know you were laughing at this, but Sully's character, Mark Rylance.
We tried off together.
I love Mark Rylance. He's a fantastic actor, and I thought Sully was very disturbing, but I could absolutely see some people finding him very silly. Okay, he's very childlike.
I am so sorry.
He's childlike and old as fuck at the same time. Okay,
that scene where he says that, I literally had to pause the movie because I was laughing so fucking hard I almost peed myself. I was just like, what the fuck did this man just say?
That's art, baby. You get different reactions. For me personally, I was like, what does he mean? Like, I could see it being for sure silly.
I mean, I understood the implication of what he was saying, but it was just so wild. Like, just... I don't know. Maybe it was just because the character from the start of the movie, again, what you were saying, that's a perfect description for him. But then just like the genuine look on his face when he said it, but the sentence itself was so fucking wild that I was just like, what?
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. I thought he was very disturbing. Like at first you're creeped out by him at the very first instance. But then you're like, oh, okay, he's like nice and guiding her.
He was creepy the whole time.
He was creepy the whole time, but I guess it was like, well, yeah, I mean, obviously this is this very older gentleman welcoming this younger girl, and so your walls are up and stuff. But then you kind of feel like, because he's so childlike, I felt like, no. But then he pulls out that fucking hair braid, and then you're like, and so anyway, she parts from him, and I don't know if you noticed the instances throughout where that van's following her, but I noticed it the first time I saw it. I was like, interesting. And so he had been following her, and he as the film progresses, he turns into this besides a cannibal monster, like a
very predatory
monster, and it is the most unsettling like scene at the end when he finds her again.
That whole final kind of act was wild.
It was wild. Yeah, I know. And spoiler alert, when you notice Timothée Chalamet's sister's hair in the braid, it was just heartbreaking. And then like, the struggle between all of them was like just nail biting. And I love the music. I love the music throughout the film. Got some of my new wave 80s in there.
Straight up her alley.
What else? Michael Stuhlbarg, who played Timothée Chalamet's father in Call Me By Your Name. It was just really fun to see him in such a different type of role. But I really thought it was interesting the lore they built, like their own version of cannibals, which is much different and not the usual horrific cannibal
And I'm just
eaters.
Honestly, I
He's an eater.
respect the love for this movie. I'm just kind of a traditionalist when it comes to certain kind of subgenres of films.
Makes sense.
So I get the allure.
Yeah.
It's just again wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But I can respect the film. And Luca is a fantastic fucking filmmaker.
Yeah.
So I understand why this movie was so anticipated.
Yeah. I have not read the book. My mom got it for me for Christmas, so I'm going to read it.
Read it.
You know, I actually, when I was thinking about this, I saw a parallel, or just like, it reminded me of Near Dark, which is a horror movie I fucking love. Horror action, if you will. I don't know. But in the romance aspect, like, there's this romance between monsters who are like, I don't know, very unsure of their lives and figuring out, especially this in Near Dark, it's this newly made vampire. He's new, and he falls in love with this vampire who's already also young, but kind of has been at it a bit more. So in that way, I see the parallels, and I really like, I don't know, I enjoy the monster romance, I guess, in the midst of chaos, or like Near Dark is much more chaotic, but
I totally get what you're saying, and maybe I will retract that term of like romance in horror, because like there are other instances where I do enjoy it. For instance, like not fucking Twilight, but other vampire films or just renditions of it, like TV shows. For instance, the newest Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
There's a romance between Louis and oh my god, why am I blinking on his name?
Lestat?
Yeah. Oh my god. What is wrong with me? There's a romance between Louis and Lestat, and it was very interesting to see how they like ebb and flow together, individually or, you know, as a unit essentially.
Yeah.
And so maybe not necessarily that aspect. I'm honestly just
the coming of age.
I'm thinking it's the coming of age, which is just a little awkward for me. I feel like I'm a little too past the age of wanting to see that.
Yeah.
And then two, I just, I'm a purist when it comes to cannibals.
Yeah.
That
is the craziest line ever. Purist when it comes to cannibals. That's our tagline. No.
It is from now on.
That's going to be just the description for this.
Please do it.
Purist when it comes to cannibals, Christine. That's so funny.
But yeah,
that's fair, man. That's
fair. Take back all what I said before, and that's the reason why I don't think I enjoyed it as much.
I don't know. I guess I really love the balance or interplay of tenderness and monstrousness, I guess. That is my number 7.
Yes.
God. All right, let's get a move on. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, we're really digging into these. It's okay. It's okay. I love it. I love it. I think you're going to be surprised by my next one.
Okay.
My number 6 pick. The Sadness.
Oh! Sorry. I peeked a little bit. Oh, boy.
Sadness. Yeah.
Oh, boy. I was
disgusted.
I was thinking about this one.
Yeah. Okay. I really enjoyed this movie because I feel like it's been a while since we got this like bold of a just batshit fucking balls to the walls bonkers ass
bloodbath,
just bloodbath,
all the bees.
Yes. Bold,
bonkers, balls to the wall, bloodbath.
Yeah. I'm impressed that you
they need to put that on the poster. Quoted from our podcast.
This movie was just honestly so insane. Like,
yes.
it was crazy. And every second of this movie was just dripping in gore and dripping in blood. And I feel like there's a time and a place for every horror enthusiast to just enjoy a movie that has, I mean, I don't want to say little substance, but is just, I mean, the focus is the gore.
Yeah.
And it's been a very long time.
Yeah.
And I was just really thrilled to get another installment in that kind of subgenre, if you say.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot of fun. In a very fucked up way.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the most impressive kills, but like makeup effects.
Yeah. I don't know if I could say the plot is very like, I want to say cohesive, but it's not exactly impressive. But the gore was amazing. I just loved it for its sheer audacity.
Yeah.
And
madness, man.
Yeah, there are some scenes that still to this day have been just seared into my brain. Like that old woman at the beginning of the film when they are walking. Yep. Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and she's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think this movie needs more explaining.
Yeah.
If you do watch it, proceed with caution because there are a lot of trigger warnings in this movie. I don't think personally I will ever watch this movie again.
I know.
But it did leave a lasting effect on me to the point where I saw it towards the beginning of the year and I still remember it.
Yeah, completely agree.
And I think it deserves a spot. Just again for its sheer audacity.
Yeah. One of the biggest trigger warnings I feel the need to say sexual assault.
Yeah.
And there's one particular scene that disturbed me so much. I almost wish I hadn't seen it. Or I probably do wish I hadn't. Well, I mean, they don't show you explicitly, but it's very implied and it is enough.
So if that's not your niche, and if that's not something you want to see, please, by all means, do not get curious. Do not watch it. Wikipedia it. Read it kind of first. See if you want to like venture into that territory. I thought, you know what? It deserves a spot.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Nice. My number 6 is Scream. It was really hard for me.
Disappointed.
I know. Like, well, again, after number 3, it's kind of like they're all. This isn't a solid placing for me.
Yeah.
After number 3, but we have a whole episode on it.
We do.
Very well done. Such a wonderful tribute to Wes Craven.
Absolutely.
Really memorable kills.
I mean, emotional roller coaster.
They really play. I mean, it's the classic red herring after red herring. Who the fuck is it? It's someone close to,
And I feel like if you were someone like us that really cherished the first movie and followed it along installment after installment, it will hit you the same way it hit us.
Yeah.
And you'll really enjoy it.
And I feel like within the horror community, and especially like on Twitter, the reveal or the reasoning behind these Ghostface killers just hits home even more. It just keeps proving itself. It's just like, yeah.
I will just, they're just kind of the royalty of meta.
Yes.
And it's just every time they release a sequel or another part in the series, I'm just always wondering and fascinated by how they're going to make it so meta.
And what Easter eggs are
and somehow they accomplish it without it being too in your face and stupid.
And annoying.
And annoying and obnoxious. And
I mean, maybe some people feel that way.
But for us,
Yeah. No,
but yeah, solid choice.
Such a joy. And again, that is not a hard placing. These are kind of, I'm just listing them off.
Yes. All right. My number 5 choice, Pearl.
Nice.
I really liked this movie. Pearl, I mean, we don't need to gush about it even more. Again, we do have another episode on this. If you're curious, you want to know our thoughts and opinions, please go check that out. It's more in depth. We kind of break it down. But, I mean, how can we not put Pearl on this list? It's inventive. It's stylistic. It's beautifully acted. It's technically shot. It's musically inclined. Like, there's no reason to not like this movie.
This is also my number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
we agreed.
Ditto. No, it was just this whole trilogy that's coming out is just such a phenomenon to me.
It's so fucking refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's a perfect word for it. That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Just the technicolor fucking madness of this was.
Would have thought we would have gotten a technicolor horror film.
So cool. So cool. And it's just one of the most interesting horror characters, horror villains of all time.
Yes.
not
Absolutely.
especially of the year. But yeah,
I'm
Pearl.
excited. Yeah, Pearl. It was great. Can't wait for Maxine. Did I show you? Did I send you that meme?
Of the Christmas tree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody had created a meme where it's Mia Goth's face on top of a Christmas tree, and it just says, "I'm a star."
Yeah, when she's just screaming.
Yeah,
it.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Great stuff. All right. Number 4. You just said this one, but my number 4 is Scream 5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Think it definitely deserved to be on the top 5.
Yeah.
I just feel like maybe if this movie had released later in the year, my list would have adjusted, but because it came out in January, there were so many other films that I feel like kind of surpassed it, just in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's not because Scream 5 is bad. I just think there were other movies that were more unique.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but just the fact that it came out in January, honestly, started the year out with a fucking bang.
Yeah.
And then it still made it on my list after all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scream 5.
Definitely.
Okay.
My number 4 is Smile.
Oh.
This one was also such a pleasant surprise. I was sorry. I was taken aback by how thoroughly creepy this was.
Yes.
And they really do the job of making a smile just horrific.
Yeah.
But they had some great scares and they didn't feel cheesy or overdone. Even though the trailer, we thought it was going to be cheesy and overdone.
We did.
We literally thought that's what it was going to be.
So I saw this movie in theaters alone by myself.
Nice.
And immediately after stepping out of that theater, I texted Carissa and I was like, you need to fucking see this movie.
Yeah.
Because it was so unexpected from what the trailer was kind of showing.
Yeah. Honestly, it might have my favorite horror soundtrack of the year. So there's a review of Smile on Letterboxd that I'm looking at right now. And it says, the real trauma was the trauma we traumatized along the trauma. And I get they're kind of making the statement that I've been seeing around a lot of newer films, more recent films, overdoing the theme of trauma. But I feel like this film, yes, it's about trauma, and that's fucking okay, but they did it in such a creative way, in such a horrific way, that I'm like, I obviously liked it. It's my number 4.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I feel like this deserves kind of a statement on this. There's always a resurgence of a typical, a particular kind of horror movie during a catastrophic event.
Yes.
So during 9/11, we got a lot of fear of traveling, a lot of body horror, a lot of gore, a lot of just like
fear of the
other. What did we just experience? A pandemic where people were alone, people were isolated, people were literally living inside their heads because they had nothing else to do.
A lot of loved ones dying.
Yeah, if you turn on the television, it was nothing but pure horrific shit. If you turn on your phone and were flipping through social media, all you heard was something horrific.
Yeah.
Something just like everything was just like inundated with trauma.
All the social movements during COVID is like a fucking double whammy.
So how do we not expect the resurgent after that to not be horror movies touching on trauma?
Yeah,
it's what we lived. It's cathartic.
Yes.
We're being able to release all those emotions that we experienced during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
And what a better time.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No,
I don't understand the hate with films, specifically horror films, dealing with trauma, because I feel like horror is a fantastic way to kind of deal with your emotions, anxiety, trauma, whatever it is, in a very safe space. Yeah. And yeah,
no, absolutely.
I just that comment ticks me off, because it's like, okay, well then what do you want, dude? Yeah. Horror has definitely touched every single rock and has flipped over everything. And I think we've gotten some of the coolest horror films this year. Yes, maybe have some touch to deal with trauma, but they're still so fucking creative.
And they're so different.
And to simplify
they're all
it
different from each other.
just as like, oh, this is a movie about trauma.
Yeah.
Like, get fucked, dude.
Yeah. So have a little more, I don't know.
I'm sorry to that particular reviewer.
I didn't name him. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Get
Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Not that one.
We feel differently.
Just kidding. Okay, I'm sorry. Rant over.
No,
I know I always get into one specific rant per
good.
fucking episode.
That was
but
good.
I really liked
It
Smile.
had to be said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just the like climax, the ending.
Yeah.
To the ending. When trauma literally swallows
her whole.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this movie was a very, very, very interesting way. And as Adam was saying off recording, is that this trailer kind of, when we all watched it, we were like, this doesn't look that good. Like, I don't know if we want to see it. But we chanced it and we watched it and we were totally blown away. And I think that the scares that were revealed in the trailer weren't even the iceberg of some of the stuff that was later revealed in the film. And the tip of the iceberg is what I meant to say. But yeah, I love Smile.
Plus it has our very own Scream King in it, Kyle Gallner. So,
Kyle Gallner.
Boom boom. Yeah. No.
Can't
give
be
it a
mad at
try.
that.
If you haven't seen it, give it a try.
Yeah, I think you'll be surprised at how much, you like this film.
Yeah.
My number 3 was Smile, so I just kind of talked about that. We'll go ahead and, skip past that. But your number 3?
My number 3 was X.
Oh.
And that was really hard for me not to decide if I wanted it higher or not. My top 3 were all super hard to.
Yeah, the top 3 was difficult.
Again, we have a full episode on X, but
yes.
God, it was such a breath of fresh air. It had been a movie, like a horror movie that we've been yearning for. Like it scratched an itch that we had been waiting to scratch in a while.
And I know we've said this before, but like I feel like this is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film that we were like waiting for.
Yeah.
Without having Leatherface in it.
Yeah, and they don't overdo the like they use that inspiration of that classic. And it's not overdone or fan service. It doesn't feel,
but they
cheap at all.
Yeah, it's using that influence, but creating something new,
completely new,
which is what we needed.
It was so unique, and one of the biggest aspects of this film that like makes me love it so much and makes me want to rewatch is the editing.
Yeah,
I mean, besides the performances that are great, and there's so many great things about this film, but the
technical aspects of this movie, mind blowing.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was such a fun. It was a fun, horrific, and completely I don't know.
It was
satisfying,
a ride.
Unique way, innovative way to show this kind of a story in this film.
Totally agree. I think this kind of also solidified my love for not only Ty West, but for Mia Goth.
Yeah, and gave us this incredible performance by Mia
solidified her Scream Queen of Power S in our list.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Ty West, for giving us
Mia Goth
this. I mean, like
this film.
Obviously she's been in movies
before.
No, this,
but like, I mean, like really making her shine.
Yeah. And Jenna Ortega was delightful too. Everyone was delightful. Brittany Snow, so Kid lovely Cudi. To see her. Yeah.
It was Kid Cudi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's just everyone in this movie is fantastic.
Yeah, the kills.
If you at this point have not seen this movie, go see it.
Yeah,
just see it. Rent it, buy it, do whatever you got to do.
Watch You want some disgusting. You want some gore, you want like
some
creative
old ladies,
kills.
You want some crocodiles,
you want some lemonade,
you want some fucking
you want some sex. This is the movie for you. All with some dope ass split frames and and playing with time, just playing with temporal structure, I guess. How the editing
Temporal structure is good. Editing.
Boom.
The temporal structure is just played with the editing. You know?
Yes.
When they have a shot of her running through the house and it keeps switching between that and her already at the car.
Yeah.
We've said that in the episode
But
on
it's,
X.
it's
but
honestly
stuff like
brilliant.
that. Stuff
It's
like
brilliant.
that where it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, what?
It's brilliant. It makes for interesting kind of visuals. It makes for dynamic storytelling. It's just Ty West.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 2 pick. X.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we went over it. We love it. Lemonade. All the good stuff.
Yeah.
Disco.
Disco. Lemonade and disco, motherfucker.
Watch our episode, Lemonade and Disco.
Boom.
It's great. All right.
All right. My number 2 is Nope.
Oh.
Okay. I don't know. The more I thought about it, just as a movie experience, top notch. Not the toppest. No, I'm just kidding. No, top notch. I absolutely love the film, and it really kind of felt like that universal blockbuster Jaws horror, but Jordan Peele style, obviously. And what more can you say? No, just the whole idea of like being addicted to the spectacle and being an exploitation of spectacle, especially in filmmaking.
Yes.
And I find OJ's character, who is unfazed by that, he's this character that's different and ends up saving the day. But because he's so different and he's not swayed by that, he's not obsessed with this idea of the spectacle. He is more close and can talk more with animals. Like, he's with his horse, and he understands animals more than like humans in that industry, it seems like. And
I would even dare to say people in general.
Yeah. And you see his sister, like the difference between he and his sister. And his sister, she likes attention. She wants to be recognized, and she wants to be in the industry and all that. And the interplay of them being so different is super fun, but also, I don't know, just very unique. First of all, just like all the characters are so unique and different, and the 3 main for me were so interesting, and especially with Steven Yeun's whole backstory, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And based on some true events, very terrifying. But
so scary.
Particularly the exploitation of bodies of minority as a spectacle. And you see Steven Yeun's character as, he's the only person of color on this sitcom set, and he's like this child star, and then has that traumatic event, but instead of like, he becomes so obsessed with like gaining control over the spectacle, that's almost like, I guess, his way of dealing with that traumatic event, that he tries to exploit that, like, jean jacket and this crazy, and ends up obviously being just a nightmare and not working out. But
I will agree that I think that this movie is very clever in many different ways, and it just shows the range of Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
For instance, with all that being said, because all of that is true with this movie, but I feel like there were other elements in it. For instance, his kind of focus on firsts for filmmaking. So again, with the whole idea of horses and his family in this movie being kind of the creators of having horses in films, but how did movies begin? Somebody being curious of a horse's gallop and taking photos of it.
Right.
But then a more nuanced kind of factor in the film is OJ's dad dying. How did he die? A nickel to the eye. What was the first kind of form of filmmaking? Nickelodeons.
Yeah.
So I think that that's all just very, very interesting, and kind of shows Jordan Peele's love language for filmmaking in a whole.
And and then going so far as to the imagery of jean jacket, when you find out that it's within jean jacket, but it looks like at the very beginning, almost like, and in the end too, like a camera, and one of the more old-fashioned cameras, like the big boxy ones with the shoot.
With the kind of like sheet that,
Very, very interesting and clever.
Very clever.
Course. He's
Yes.
such an auteur,
Yes.
if you will.
So for me personally, I did not put this movie on my list.
Mhm.
I did put it as an honorable mention because I do think it deserves a mention and I do think it deserves to be appreciated. But I just personally didn't feel like this movie was as much deep rooted in the horror genre as I would have liked it to be. And I mean, this is my own fault, and this is me putting my own expectations on the film. So I 100% take accountability for my own impressions. But I wanted this so badly to be a true fucking alien horror film.
I see. Yeah.
And it just wasn't that.
Yeah.
And not to say that his interpretation of this was bad. It just wasn't, it was not my expectation. So I felt like I was a little bit let down watching this movie, but that doesn't take away from how great it was.
Yeah.
And I did still really enjoy it, and I think that's perfectly put. It is this big, grand, blockbuster type of film that I think was very much meant to be seen in theaters to truly understand the grandness of the spectacle that this film was intended to be.
Yeah. I guess just the level of using this idea of the spectacle in the movie where it's criticizing our addiction to it, yet the film itself is such a spectacle and this huge blockbuster and like, you know, big budget alien fucking
it's almost meta in a sense. Yeah.
I thought it was just very clever because then you kind of look in on yourself and like our addiction to these like
we are addicted to spectacles. Absolutely.
Yeah, in everyday life, baby, and some that are the product of like trauma. Okay, I just wanted to mention what this person wrote on Letterboxd in their review. I agree with, and I think it's very well said. So David Ehrlich poses the thought of like, what kind of awful power do we lend such tragedies by sanctifying them into spectacles that can play out over and over again? And you can see that in film and just anything that's created into this thing that's meant to be viewed and gawked at. And it's interesting.
Absolutely.
It's just interesting.
That's
my number two. That's my number two.
Okay, I have a feeling we have the same fucking number one.
Okay.
On the count of three.
Yeah, you know.
The count of three. Just say it.
1,
2. Wait, Adam, do you want to count us down?
3.
No.
2. Wait.
Oh, sorry, start over. I didn't know you were going backwards. I was like, do we say it? Okay, start over. I'm sorry. I'm getting hyped.
Okay, I'll start at 3. 3, 2, 1.
Barbarian.
Barbarian.
Barbarian. Little Beach Boys tribute there.
Okay. So we have an episode on this.
Yes.
But
I genuinely just think...
Yes, we have the same number one.
Yes. I just genuinely think that this movie was just... I'm just gonna say it was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it was perfectly paced in a sense where it just built up that fear and that tension, and then it was just immediate relief.
Yeah.
And then you build up that fear and that tension, and then relief.
Yeah.
And it just was an up and down kind of roller coaster. So you never really knew when you were safe and when it was going to be scary again.
Yeah.
And I just loved that ebb and flow in that kind of just momentum of this film. And then I also really appreciated the comedy in this movie.
Yeah.
Whether it was intentional or whether it wasn't, because I feel like some scenes definitely were, whereas others maybe not so much, but it depends on personal interpretation. But I loved that there was that comedy in it because it gave you a chance to feel relief.
Yeah.
Because the tension that was built was definitely like to the point of going into a very different kind of horror film.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and then you get that relief and it's just like, oh shit, okay, I can relax. I can, you know?
And it still furthered the plot, the narrative along, and like tied into it so well.
And I don't think I for once like had any idea of how long this movie was.
Yes.
I was just watching it and watching it and watching it,
Yeah.
and it was over, and I was like, that felt like fucking 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It did not feel as long as it actually was. And you know how there's sometimes those movies that kind of drag and you're constantly checking time.
Yeah.
This was not it.
Yeah. No, definitely. I can't say it any better myself. Again, we've talked about this at length in the episode on it, but just the playing with expectations, and specifically in that first act, with Keith and Tess, just very realistic and playing on all of, specifically for women, all of the
red flags
that we know and look out for. And this is just a movie that just keeps you like yelling at the screen, or the urge to yell at the screen, not in an annoying way, just in that super fun, enraptured way.
Yeah, you just want to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop it!
This movie, like when we saw it together, was like the most animated we had been watching a horror movie. Like
usually we're like dead silent, don't say shit to each other, fully absorbed in this movie, and in this we were like grabbing each other, saying what the fuck, like flailing around. I think the scares in this worked, and it was done in a very clever way. I don't think that, at least for us, any of them were really expected, or at least what the scare was unexpected. I think this movie flowed really well. I thought that the technical aspect of this film was very creative, specifically in editing, and it not being linear necessarily in continuity, in a sense where like you had other stories coming in at midpoints of the film, like breaking up the acts. Like it was just it was very, very well done. It was very smart. It was masterfully crafted. I can't wait to see more films by this director. Not back up here. Take a couple steps back. Not more films by him, because we know he's done a lot of others, but I'm excited to see if he comes out with any other horror films. Because he really knows what he is doing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Barbarian was a fucking beast of a film, and no matter how many other movies came out this year, that movie still, in my mind, was number one from the day we saw it until the day I made this list.
Like, as an overall experience, I think this one was the most memorable for me and the most fun and satisfying films that I got this year.
And I feel like, even though I don't want to call it a twist, because I don't think it was a twist, maybe more surprise, reveal surprise, of what this movie was about. I don't think it affected its rewatchability. Because I have watched it a couple times after seeing it in theaters, and I think it's just as batshit wild.
I mean, and they have some really good shots that are just unsettling, creepy. Her being framed in the darkness of the start of the cellar, and then the like, where it's just doom.
Justin Long. I'm sorry.
I just always love this man.
I cannot, like, this scene is ingrained in my mind of this man with a fucking tape measure. Like,
I know, some people don't like it. I was like, are you crazy?
So funny. No. And I genuinely, like, I feel like that was so fitting for Justin Long. He played that character so well. It was so goofy, yet, like, just very befitting for him. Like, I feel like that character was made for Justin Long.
Absolutely.
I just, I can't say more great things about this movie. I really, really fucking pray to the gods that this movie comes out on physical release. I want a copy of it so bad. For sure. But Barbarian.
Number one. Would you like to, you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I actually do. Okay. So my honorable mentions, we already talked about Nope. I did have Prey as one of my honorable mentions as well. Another one that we haven't discussed is a film called Piggy. Which was really interesting. I know it came out of one of the film festivals that happened last year. It is about a girl who is overweight and she's being mercilessly teased. And it's about her kind of navigating her world while being teased and having an unfortunate event happen that she kind of stumbled upon, and how the kind of story unfolds from that moment. I think it was very well crafted. It's shot in standard ratio, which I thought was really interesting. It had this like grainy kind of look and touch to it. It was in Spanish. It was a very well crafted film. Yeah. And my heart kind of went out to this girl. I was growing up like kind of chubby and just relating to her being mercilessly teased like that and kind of having a soft spot for her character, and then what happens to her character arc after the fact. It's really interesting. I really don't want to give too much of this movie away because I know it hasn't been viewed by a wide audience, but I feel like if you at all can relate or that at all sounds interesting to you, that 1,000% it deserves a watch. It's very well made. It's very clever. The acting in it is spectacular. I don't think it made enough of an impact on me to add it to the list, but I still think that it was a very, very good movie to come out this year. Nice. And it deserves a watch and it deserves a mention.
Nice. Very cool.
So, and then the last one on my list, which is just because this movie was just so outrageous and so fucking dumb, but in the best way possible. I'm talking, this is like one of those sci-fi Velocipaster Sharknado kind of movies. The Mean One.
Oh, nice.
It was so much fun getting to watch, not the Grinch, the Mean One, go around and fuck shit up. It was just a lot of fun. It was perfect time for the holiday season. And it was just, if you kind of enjoy that B-rated, just trash-ass horror movie that you know is like kind of meant to be that, and it's not trying to prove itself to be anything more than.
Right.
Put it on, enjoy yourself, get a good laugh, enjoy it. Because it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But those are my honorable mentions.
So my honorable mentions, I did have two that you've already listed, and I was struggling on if I wanted them on my main list or not, but Watcher and Bodies. Yeah. They were just, it was so hard.
It is hard narrowing it down to 10.
I did really love those films.
Yeah.
But I think the other ones just impacted me more, stayed with me more.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are films that I have not seen this year that were released that I think might possibly have made my list, but I won't know. At least not until after this episode. But Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2, which I don't know. I could, I don't know if it would make my list, but I had wanted to see it, especially hearing all the hubbub.
On a lot of lists.
Yeah.
With just this kind of year-round wrap-up.
I mean, I
won't be on mine.
For personal reasons.
Yeah. Nothing against any of the filmmakers, actors, or anything like that. Clowns are no go for me. No zone.
I had really liked Art the Clown in the first one. I was like, oh wow, this actor's very good. And he's thoroughly creepy and playful.
He plays the Grinch.
That's right.
In The Mean One.
That's right.
Yeah, so if you liked Terrifier, maybe go watch that one. Just get a little appreciation.
Yeah. And I appreciated the practical effects. I was like, nice. Absolutely. I do hear that the main girl in this is like being talked as like a new final girl. Like people really enjoyed her. And
okay.
Yeah. Lauren, her name is Lauren Lavera. So I probably will check it out at some point.
Yeah.
But that one, Hellbender, is a Shudder exclusive that I had wanted to see, and it had very good, particularly I think critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
But I had been interested in it, so maybe I'll check that out. Speak No Evil. I know you saw it. I've heard a lot about it on Twitter, and I heard it's at least the very ending is very difficult.
I'm just gonna say this. That goes on my dishonorable list.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I don't like that movie. I don't understand why everyone thinks it's this crazy fucking movie.
Yeah.
To me, it's just kind of an overinflated story of bad parenting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was not a fan. I watched it the first time and I was like, whoa, that was kind of crazy. And then I sat on it and I was like, no, the fuck it wasn't.
I see.
But no.
Yeah. All right. All
No.
right. Okay.
On further thought, absolutely not. It actually kind of pissed me off. Not, the movie itself didn't make me angry, but, the substance in the film, the plot, everything that happened, what the characters were doing, like, genuinely made me angry. Because I was like, I just don't understand the way how people could think that way, and I think that's why I found it so frustrating.
Right.
And it wasn't scary. It just was like, why? Why the fuck?
I see. I see. Okay.
I suggest watching it because I know that there are two very different crowds in this film. There are people that agree with me, and then there are people that think it's the craziest fucking movie to come out in 2022.
Right.
I just it's a very thin line, and I found that it's either or. There's like no in between. Right. Yeah. But give it a shot. See what you think. I'm very interested to see what you think, if you align with me or if you actually enjoy it. But yeah, it's kind of a polarizing film.
Yeah. Some others just rapid fire that I had wanted to see but could have made this list are Saloon, which is on Shudder, Nanny, The Innocents.
One more of my honorable mentions. You just triggered my thought on it. The Harbinger.
Oh, right. You were telling us about that. Yeah.
It was a really, really inventive kind of movie in the sense of the dreamscape. I thought it was very interesting. It deals with dreams, and that's all I really want to say, because I genuinely don't think that you should look up anything about this movie and just go in and watch it. It's really interesting. Some of the scenes are very unsettling to where I was like, ooh, what? But I wished it pushed a little bit further with the ending, and I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. But I definitely think it's unique enough to be put on the honorable mentions. It is a movie that will stick with you. Okay. And you're going to think about it and you're going to be like, okay. In the same kind of way that Nightmare on Elm Street deals with dreams, where it's just, you're going to get stuck in that, I don't want to dream kind of headspace.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
I want to check that out.
Don't even want to discuss your dreams with other people.
Interesting.
So, that movie was a lot of fun to watch. It was unique. It was different. I want to say it felt very low budget. I don't know if it is, and I'm so sorry if it wasn't, and I think it is.
It's not necessarily an insult.
Yes, but it was a very small cast. Took place in, I want to say a couple of locations, and it dealt with the pandemic. But I think in a very clever way. Where it didn't feel too in your face, like, oh my god, pandemic. But it's still related with the whole, everybody was wearing masks, people were socially distancing, weren't going to each other's houses. The main character is a woman. She's staying with her father and her brother. Her father is kind of immune compromised. She gets a call from her best friend who needs help. And she makes the decision during the pandemic to go visit her and see what's wrong. And then the story kind of unfolds from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think you would like it, personally,
yeah,
Carissa.
Sure. Yeah. Just the last one that I hadn't seen, but I think I want to, is The Hatching.
Oh, yeah. That movie was... I liked it. But I'm not super into body horror.
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah.
I can appreciate it, but it's not my cup of tea. I think Adam may like it quite a bit.
Boom, boom.
He's our body horror guy.
Yeah. But anyway, I guess we can move on to.
But give The Hatching a shot, Carissa.
Yeah.
I think you guys might enjoy it. Cool. Dishonorable mentions. Okay, let's preface. We did not want to make a worst list because we don't believe in that. We don't believe in bashing movies as bad per se. It's just we don't like it. Yeah, exactly. And I think everyone's entitled to a we don't like it opinion.
So these will basically just be movies that kind of disappointed us this year.
That just didn't do anything for us. Speak No Evil is on here.
Yeah. Figured.
I would say, okay, I'm just gonna kind of go through these. I had kind of a list of them.
I think I only have 2, so
Yeah,
just go
and
through
then
your
I
list.
mean, well, we've spoken about some of these maybe not, and I can elaborate further. But these, for the most part, are movies that came out that I really wanted to see that just didn't hit the note for me.
Yeah.
And that was Halloween Kills,
Yeah, agreed. That's on mine.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Same.
Halloween ends.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Halloween Ends
for
Well,
2022.
Halloween, yeah. I meant to say Halloween Ends, but
Halloween
I think
Ends.
I wrote Halloween Kills on accident.
Yeah.
Halloween Ends.
Yes,
Thank you for
same.
that. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You're totally gonna disagree with me on this, and that's 1,000% okay. But Black Phone.
Oh yeah.
Speak No Evil. Men.
Yeah.
Hellraiser.
Okay. Yeah.
Bones and All.
Uh-huh.
Deadstream. Firestarter. And Mr. Harrigan's Phone. Or is it Dr. Harrigan's? Mr. Harrigan's. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just, it didn't, oh, and then, I mean, if you want to get further into it, I also put Orphan First Kill and Choose or Die. I was kind
Let
of
me just add 2 more.
forced into that film because
Okay.
my roommates wanted to watch it, and I was just like, I got through 20 minutes of it and I walked away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Choose or
For sure.
Die, I was hoping would be like a Truth or Dare kind of film, and it was just kind of like, eh.
I see.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, mine were Halloween Ends that I could think of right now. Halloween Ends, Texas Chainsaw, and The Cellar, which was a Shudder release that I thought looked very interesting.
Oh,
and I was
yeah.
liking it, but then it kind of just fell
Really?
off for me.
Okay, that's on my list, so I'm wondering what I will think of that one.
But yeah, that concludes our dishonorable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to pose 3 categories for me that I thought would be cool to answer out of our 2022 watches.
Absolutely.
So, first one is, what was your biggest surprise movie that you went into it not sure, and then you were just so surprised at how much you liked it, or whatever, or just surprised at in general by the movie? Like, I think for me, it would be Smile.
I was gonna say the same.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just remember watching that trailer and, I mean, no offense, but thinking this is gonna be another piece of shit fucking, like, just a horror, let's pump it out and see, like, how many people we can get to fucking watch this kind of thing.
Your standard run-of-the-mill jump scare everywhere.
Yeah. And I mean, have you seen that trailer? It looks like that. But I was sorely mistaken, and I ate every single fucking word that I said while watching that trailer.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, I'm a little humbled right now. Like, that was actually really good.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love going in thinking I'm not going to enjoy something and then having it smack me in the face with its brilliance.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for it. Make me eat my words.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Right. This next one is, it's not particular. Okay, just this year, what was your favorite rewatch of an oldie? I don't know, that this year that you may have forgotten and rewatched, and you're like,
rewatch of an old. I honestly genuinely don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's
like I really don't know if I had honestly the time to rewatch anything.
Yeah.
I think the only things that I rewatched were films that were mentioned on the list that we had seen in theaters that I just wanted to see if it had the same impact. And I love to watch movies twice because I feel like you catch a lot of stuff you didn't see the first time.
Totally.
And so I would say I did multiple watches of some of the stuff here. You know what? I'll probably see Scream 5, honestly.
Nice.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I've watched it a couple times this year.
Yeah.
More than a couple, actually. Quite a few.
Yeah.
It was just kind of for me, Scream is a comfort movie. I put it on every time. I just want something in the background, and I found that Scream 5 was this for me this year.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say my favorite movie that I've rewatched this year was Black Christmas, the original, 1974.
Okay,
Just like a general rewatch.
Yeah.
I had Adam see it for the first time, and I believe he liked it a lot.
For the first time?
Yeah, that movie rolls.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's so well done, and obviously it was the holidays recently, so there's
Yeah.
a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it just made me realize after rewatching it, I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like,
Yeah.
this movie is so well done
Yeah.
and so ahead of its time.
There's a reason why
Really
that
influenced.
film influenced so many
Yes.
movies and
The
why
Halloween.
Yeah. It stands top tier.
Please watch Black Christmas if you
Yeah.
haven't seen it. I mean, perfect time is around Christmas, but I'm just gonna say, like, when you look at the original one, and it has like even more iconic than When a Stranger Calls, that moment
Yeah.
of he's calling from inside the house.
Yeah.
This one did it first,
Yeah.
and super effective, and just like the POV killer.
Yeah.
Just there's so much iconic imagery
Yeah.
and just craftsmanship in that movie and how it influenced even more like iconic
many.
films.
Yeah.
So well done. And then my last little
Yeah.
category award, your favorite late to the game watch, where this a movie had come out and you hadn't seen it until late.
I would say The Menu.
Nice.
I watched that way far out. Like I had mentioned earlier, I really wish I would have seen it in theaters.
Yeah.
I think it would have definitely impacted it a little bit further. I didn't get that chance. But yeah, the movie was fantastic regardless, and I really had a great time with it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of cheating in these categories because these aren't like for me. The ones I have aren't like 2022. Films,
Oh,
but
God
it's like
damn it.
that I've watched in
Okay.
2022.
Okay.
This year
Yeah.
recently, so I'm kind of cheating a little bit.
Well, no,
You're being true.
it's fair.
But- and it's
I
true.
mean, I said
Yeah.
earlier too that like I didn't
had
have
time to
time
rewatch.
to watch
Yeah.
other stuff other
Yeah.
than like the stuff that came out this year.
Yeah.
So fair
Totally.
enough.
So my late to the game favorite favorite watch was Ghost Watch, actually, which is an old film.
Oh,
It's the
yeah,
British.
You were talking about this
Yeah.
with me.
It's a very creative found footage supernatural horror British film, and it's just such a cool history to that film, and it was, I also think, way ahead of its time. And in the 90s, basically, it was aired on the BBC on Halloween night, and this film poses as if it's an actual BBC like special report kind of investigation into the paranormal, and they use actual reporters that have been featured on BBC, one that's very well known, and others that were on like Crime Watch, these actual reporters, and use them as actors in this film acting like themselves, and people thought it was real and were super freaked out because they manipulate the medium and kind of act like the medium itself, like the film you're watching, it's affecting you, and it's like the ghost is in the machine kind of idea. But it was so fun and so well done. It was thoroughly creepy because you would think that, you know, it's all cheesy and you've seen it all, but it really still creeped me out. They had some great well-crafted scares and just
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
it's super fun.
Yeah.
I got the physical. What's crazy is I bought the physical edition before I had even seen it. Like,
It just
I just knew I was gonna like it.
I
read about it.
think once you've reached that level of like fandom in the genre, you'll do blind buys all the time, and half the time you'll know what you like based on a cover.
Yeah, and I think it's released on physical Blu-ray for the first time. It's like a collector's edition. Steelbook.
Nice.
I'll bring it over. Or you
Yeah,
watch it.
please, let's watch
I
it.
think it's super fun. Yeah.
But that wraps up
That's
our
it, baby.
2022 list of films.
What movie coming out in 2023 are you
Ooh.
most excited for? Most anticipating?
Okay, I think I have two that are kind of tied.
Okay. Yeah.
I will say Maxine
Yes.
and Evil Dead Rise.
That's exactly mine
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
I actually had kind of a funny story behind Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
When the trailer was released, I saw the regular kind of trailer and I was just like, This kind of looks a little reminiscent of like The Conjuring and that style of horror film, which I mean is not bad. We all love a good James Wan film, but that's not what you want in Evil Dead or any of the sequels thereafter. Yeah. And so I was a little, shall I say, disappointed.
Yeah.
I was a little sad. But then I was like, you know what? I wonder if this movie has a Red Band trailer, because as we know, Fede Alvarez's film immediately came out with a Red Band trailer. Yeah. And I was like, let me see. And I looked it up on little YouTube and I found it. And I was like, this is the movie that I was anticipating. This is the trailer that I wanted to see. I'm very excited.
Check out the trailer, guys.
All I have
the cheese grater.
All I gotta say is, Mummy's with the maggots now.
Nice.
She says it a lot different. I sound British. I don't fucking know why. Let me try that again. Mommy's with the maggots now. Nice. Is that better? Yeah. Is that creepier?
Yeah. Yes. It's pretty unsettling.
But yeah, I'm fucking excited. That movie looks wild, complete, utter, just carnage. Evil Dead carnage. I'm very excited.
And then Maxine, I just don't know what to expect. I know, like, a little bit of what to expect.
I mean,
but where's the story gonna go?
We saw, like, the 80s kind of Maxine.
And you know it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
You know there's probably gonna be some good gore.
Yeah. I'm ready to see Maxine fuck shit up.
Yeah. Yeah. I really wonder what's gonna happen.
I really don't know. I hope we get a trailer for it soon. Yeah. Considering kind of the time in between the other films like X and Pearl, I'm assuming we're gonna get Maxine pretty soon. So yeah, looking forward to that. And stay tuned for a review near you, because I guarantee once both of those movies come out, we're gonna hit you with an episode.
Hit you over the head.
Yes.
With a pitchfork. No.
With lemonade.
With a pitcher of lemonade.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to us rant and rave about our favorites, our not so favorites, our top 10s, our dishonorable mentions, our honorable mention, absolutely, our favorites, our all of the things.
And stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah.
And
who knows what it'll be about?
Yeah. Like, actually, who knows?
I know. We really have no fucking idea. So your guess is as good as ours.
And you know what that means.
You know what that means. I'll be right back.